Hi everyone, how's everyone doing here today? Thank you for watching, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about, well, as the title says, bad moms and people who are voting in their best interests. When I say bad moms, I'm relating to the Moms of Liberty, which by now I'm sure pretty much most, if not all of you have heard about. They're an interesting bunch of ladies who, well, pretty much push fascist ways. They are pretty much all white. They like to ban books, and they like to try and put their influence on school boards. And like any other cancer, they've been creeping in a little at a time into different states and different areas, trying to make their presence known. They've also been getting a lot of pushback as well, rightfully so. And one of the triggers that you know that these people aren't any good is because in one of their recent newsletters, they used a quote from Adolf Hitler. Although later stating that, they didn't mean it like that. It's, I don't know, some type of silly retraction, or they allegedly didn't know. I'm not 100% sure, but they put Adolf Hitler's name, in there as well. So, yeah, you know who you were quoting from. The question is, why would you quote from somebody like that? Okay? Please, take all the time you need to think that one over. This is pretty much a hate group. This is pretty much like a white supremacist fascist group, and it's not to be taken lightly, okay? Because like I said, little at a time they're trying to make their way in and, do what they can to recruit new members, and most importantly, just, advocate their straight, white, narrow-minded ways, anti-LGBTQ, anti-trans, banning books, just like what's going on in Florida and certain other states. Now, I talked about this as far as what our future would be like, our country in a fascist world. I also talked about it in the fascist blueprint related to Ron DeSantis' silly, the Florida blueprint. It is fascism. Let's be clear on that, okay? That stance has not changed. But what I don't get is that some of these groups, who are voting for politicians on the far right, and also specifically Donald Trump, which I'll get into as well, that they're actually voting against their best interests. Now, some of them, I would imagine, know. Let's give them some credit. They're not that stupid. And they simply don't care. Some of them, I really don't think they know. Some of them, I really think that somehow they're doing the right thing and that they're going to come out on top and reap the rewards. I don't think so, okay? Women being one of the most vulnerable of the groups out there, regardless of whatever your political party is. Let's break it down, okay? Yes, to all you moms of liberty that are listening, thank you for that. What would it be like if you got your way? Like you put Donald Trump back in office and he completely secured his power and pretty much was president indefinitely. Some of the things he's already talked about is, like I said, well, you're going to have an abortion ban across the board. Okay? You've already lost your rights to your own bodily autonomies, so I don't know why you see past that. That's a key red flag right there. And some of you might be old, you're in your late 50s, 60s, so you say like, well, I'm not going to have kids, so any more kids, or I don't have kids and I don't want any, so that doesn't affect me. Okay, so you're saying you only vote for your only personal best interests only, not for the overall country, or at least the community that you live in. What about your daughters, if you have any? What about if you have sisters, their children, your nieces? What about future generations? What about the other Moms for Liberty's daughters and stuff like that? What about them? One of them gets pregnant and needs an abortion because of medical reasons, they're screwed. They're going to suffer. That's on you. God forbid you have a young daughter or a young female relative in the family that is raped or a victim of incest. She's going to suffer. She's going to be forced to carry a child that she may not be able to carry and most likely won't survive the pregnancy. That is on you. That is what you would put yourself into. And like I said before, you think bodily autonomy rights are going to be the only thing? No. Think about them taking away your right to vote. They haven't announced that, and that's just speculation, I'll be honest. But let's be real, with everything that we've seen going on, it's not a stretch. You don't think they would try and take away your rights to vote? And some of you women out there are already saying that, like stupid talking people on the right, like Carrie Lake has felt that women are inferior. Candace Owens, oh, the perfect candidate, you know. A black woman regurgitating white supremacist talking points. Of course they're going to keep her around. And she's saying that, like, you know, women voting is problematic, or women in the workplace is problematic. Well, what the hell is she doing working? Why isn't she at home being obedient to her husband? That's pretty much the stance they're going to have on all the moms of liberty and all the other women across the country. Pretty much, your place should be at home. The man's in charge, and he has all the rights. In some states down in Florida, they're doing away, what is it called? I'm blanking on the name. It's like a no-fault rule in divorce. So if a woman wants a divorce, she can't get it. So if you have a husband that's abusive and you want a divorce, well, too bad. You are going to suffer. You're stuck. That is what such a fascist-like future holds for all the women in this country. So you got these moms of liberty pushing to ban books and do these other things, helping out with their agenda, and yet that agenda eventually is going to go full circle and bite them. And then what? You know, you'll have Trump in office indefinitely. He's not going to give up that power so easily next time. He might even decide to do away with elections. Not that that really matters, because there's a good possibility you'll lose your right to vote. So guess what, ladies? Female Trump supporters, you're voting against your best interests. Here's another interesting group. And something I meant to say earlier. This movement on the right is mostly being fueled by Christian nationalism, which, if you read between the lines, it falls under three qualifications that you should meet in order to really be a solid part of that group. Do you know what those are? White, male, Christian. If you have two of the three, that's good, but not good enough. So you may not find yourself so welcome. Like I said before, you know, hey, Moms of Liberty, you got the white and probably the Christian part down, but the male part, not so much. I mean, of course, I'll keep exceptions to have you around, you know, maybe to, you know, they'll appreciate your vote, getting them in. Whether or not that voting right lasts, that's another story. Here's another group I see. Blacks for Trump. I see actually black people wearing shirts or putting videos on TikTok giving their ultimate support to Donald Trump, the orange messiah and the racist who doesn't care about black people, which he's demonstrated a few times in the past. It's not like so easy where he's going to come out and say, or any other politician for that matter, yeah, I'm a racist. But let's be real. Anyone who thinks Donald Trump is not a racist really is not paying attention. Well, where do you fit in on that? Okay? You're not white. So that's going to be a problem. More and more they are pushing laws to restrict voting. What's to stop them? Just like they do for women, to take away your rights to vote as well. Not to mention you're deprived of health care, and not to mention that, you know, with gerrymandering and everything else, they can custom tailor laws, you know, to target, you know, minority groups, marginalized groups, specifically black people as well. The only one exception you might have is if you're wealthy. If you're wealthy and you're, like, say, a male Christian, then you might be able to, you know, find some place in there. Because, hey, you know what? Money talks. And Donald Trump, he needs all those donations he can to pay off those legal bills. But if you're black, you're not going to find yourself as welcome. And like I said, when they start pushing more and more rules that take away your rights, that's on you. Look what they're doing in Florida and other states with the book bans. Somebody out there is cruising. Anyhow, like I said, look what they're doing with all the book bans, trying to erase African American history. It's not theory. It is happening. It is for real. And you're going to wake up why. You know, they're okay with Confederate statues, but God forbid we talk about slavery. Because we don't want those white people to feel bad. Again, remember, white Christian men. So for all you blacks for Trumps, congratulations. You're selling yourselves down the river, you know, to a man who in the end is not going to do very little or nothing for you. If you're a black female, well, that's a double whammy. Just like everything I said before. black people in America, statistically speaking, don't get as much access to health care as, white people do. Now they're taking away all the health care and everything for women because of all this, anti-abortion stuff. The pro-life stuff, because they care so much about kids, except for your children. If you're a mother, a black mother with children living in a poor neighborhood, good luck. Good luck, because I have no idea, how you're going to survive next 7, 8, or, 10 years, however long Donald Trump lives. Because like I said, he'll do what he can to stay in office for as long as, till he dies, pretty much. And if there's a way he can pass the helm on to his kids, you can bet he's going to do that. That's the same thing that also applies for, like when you see Latinos for Trump. I've never seen Asian for Trump, and thank goodness. But look how he used to spew all the hate about, the COVID, saying things like the China virus or Kung flu, and then you had all these hate crimes rising against Asian people. You think he's going to let up on that? You think if something like that came up again, that he wouldn't spew more nonsense and cause more hate crimes to occur? He doesn't care. So if, you fall within the Latino community, the Asian community, you vote against him, that's on you. Look what's going on at the border. Where he regards Mexican people for the most part as, murderers, criminals, drug dealers, and stuff like that. He doesn't care about migrants. Neither does Ron DeSantis. Neither do a lot of far-right Republicans, especially down south. Look what Greg Abbott is doing, at the border, where he put up razor wire to keep migrants out. Well, guess what? For all you Latinos out there, you're going to find yourselves getting the short end of the stick as well. You vote for Donald Trump, that is on you. You start losing your rights, that is on you. Or you feel like you're not being treated fairly, again, that is on you. And there's also technically a fourth category in there that you have to meet. I think by now it's pretty obvious. You haven't figured out what it is? It's real simple. It's straight. So if you're in the LGBTQ community or the trans community, good luck. Because we've already seen, how much Donald Trump really cares about LGBTQs. Maybe once in a rare moon he'll wave a pride flag or keep a pride flag just on standby, just to please that particular group, to try and get their vote. You're voting for him. Well, like I said, in addition to the book banning and other laws being custom tailored to target LGBTQs and trans, if you're supporting these people, you're pretty much cutting yourself at the kneecaps. They're not going to look out for you. Look at everything they're doing with trying to bag drag shows and stuff like that. They don't care about LGBTQs or trans. According to them, you are just another cultural issue to distract from the real issues going on that they're not interested in solving either. So when you see all these hate crimes against LGBTQs, against trans, that's on them. And if you vote for them, well then it's on you as well. You're setting yourself up for disaster. And as far as the religious aspect goes, like I said, it'll be primarily Christian. Now, somebody like me, I could probably convert from, say, Catholic to Christian just to safeguard myself, so I'm okay, even though I'm not a wealthy person. Even though I'm not LGBTQ or trans. I can adjust myself to fit in and just get with the program. I wouldn't like it, of course, but at least I have that option. LGBTQs, people of color, you may not have that option. And for anyone who's like non-Christian, like members of the Jewish community, or Muslims, forget about it. You're a Muslim and you're voting for Trump, and I really have to explain this, then you are so far down the rabbit hole that nothing I say is going to change that. Okay? We already know how he feels about, as he likes to put it, radical Islamic terrorists. That is what you are in his eyes. I wouldn't be surprised in a future fascist society under Donald Trump where you would notice that synagogues and mosques suddenly aren't so popular anymore or aren't so welcome anymore. Again, you think I'm kidding? I'm not. I'm not taking anything off the table. That part is speculation, but it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't be much of a stretch. And the other exception, like I said, is if you're wealthy. That's the only thing. If you're a certain politician like Tim Scott, you might be able to wing it, They might keep you around there just to say, hey, look, we're not racist. We got Tim Scott here. Same thing before, like Candace Owens. She regurgitates a lot of talking points to help spread their message, so they're willing to make her a slight exception. Oh yeah, Candace Owens, we like her too. She says all the hateful stuff that, we like to, say the quiet part out loud, but hey, some of you people out there really need to wake up, In the end, if you're going to support Donald Trump in 2024, that's what you're going to do. But you're voting against your best interests, and you're pretty much selling yourselves down the river. And if he wins, there ain't going to be no turning back. You don't get to say, ooh, gee, I made a mistake, what can I do? At that point, it'll be too late. So you really need to think about what kind of a future you want. Because the future I prefer is the democratic one, where everyone gets to vote, where everyone is treated fairly, where everybody gets health care, where all the women have the right to choose for their own bodily autonomy, not non-medical, crusty white politicians. Where trans are treated equally as well and given the gender-affirming care they want, where, LGBTQs are treated fairly as well. And that, like I said, you get equal rights regardless of what color skin you are, what religion you preach or support, or that you subscribe to, or if you don't subscribe to any religion at all, you're treated just the same. And immigration is a way to solve that, but not having to use acts of cruelty. Migrants are treated equally as well as refugees. That's the future that I want. And I don't support any group that has to quote from Adolf Hitler. Sorry, ladies, you pretty much said the quiet part out loud. Not that anyone's any really surprised. So keep voting against your best interests. See how that works out for you in the long run. I know what I have to do, and I'm encouraging others to get out and vote as well. November's not too far off. Already I'm making donations, trying to make preparations, as well as 2024. So, anyhow, I really hope you understand. Thank you for watching.